Welcome to Film in Review 2017. My name is Alec, and this is the Movie Trialers channel. It's been a tough year. If I had to sum up my year of 2017 in a short clip, I'd probably use this one.
I'm gonna make it! I'm gonna make it! This is the greatest thrill of my life! I'm king of the world! Woohoo! Woohoo!
Films have actually been pretty good in 2017. There's been fun films, surprising films, entertaining films, great horror films, great action films. Films have been great and have distracted me from the otherwise miserable, turgid. Let's start on an upbeat note. My biggest disappointment of 2017. Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi.
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
I think the best way to approach talking about Star Wars without filling my review with spoilers would be, rather than to moan about it and the various things that I didn't like so much, because there were a lot of things I did like, I think I'd rather just talk about what I would have done instead. And I'm in no way a professional writer. Well, I don't know. I like to think I am, but I might be deluded. So, for a start, they were hinting at this in the film. But they had the slightly spoilers, but nothing crazy, because, you know, it's part of the plot. They had Rey and Kylo Ren connected through the Force, and they have a series of conversations throughout the film. And it's like that balance of the light and the dark. And what I would have liked to have seen would them to fully explore this properly and have the two characters almost swap sides. Because that, if you want to defy expectation, that's what you do. No one expects Rey to go to the dark side, do they? I mean, she's Rey. But what if she did? You know, she's got this trauma, she's got these burning questions of her past, of her parentage. That would have been so much more interesting to explore. And then Kylo Ren is such a demented character at this point. But he's also a character that's been beaten on basically every occasion so far, so why not have him go back to his mentor, back to Luke, and start like a real redemption arc. So when they meet in the final movie, you have a character that you want to see return to the light, you have a character that's returned to the light that you don't want to perish in this fight, and it would be a really interesting dichotomy between the characters, and that to me would have been, well, intelligent at the very least, but it wouldn't have, I don't know, undermined what to me is important about Star Wars, which is what I kind of feel happened in the latest movie.
Oh my God!
On to the biggest surprise of 2017. Blade Runner 2049. Now, Ridley Scott has been on a rampage lately, sort of going through all of his beloved films from the past and dredging them up and sort of ruining them one after the other, at least in my humble opinion. And I was concerned when I heard there was going to be a new Blade Runner film that he was going to do the same as with Alien to Blade Runner. However, I then heard when the film came out that he didn't direct it, and it was good. And hearing that from reviewers that I respect, I went out and watched it, and it was a very entertaining movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it almost fix everything that I didn't like about the original. There was actually some sort of mystery to it, and the effects are fantastic. The original's effects don't hold up very well, I don't think. I mean, some of the miniatures are pretty laughable at this point. Well, you're glazing over there. I don't think it's. I don't know. I think that Blade Runner has its issues, pacing wise especially. But what the new one doesn't have is Rutger Hauer, because Rutger Hauer was incredible in the first film, and Jared Leto in this film is sort of moustache twirling and a bit unbelievable, really. So there's that. So I'd probably say that 2049 was my biggest surprise. It was so much better than I thought it was going to be, and we'll talk about that again very shortly.
And now for something completely different.
One of the reasons I love films so much is because they tell a story. It's escapism at its purest, it's entertainment, it's myth and legend, and the imparting of tales to one another. It's social interaction, it's everything that makes the human race interesting and great to me. It's creativity. And the best storytelling that I encountered this year didn't come from a film, it came from a video game. So I'm going to make a new category this year, which is my video game of the year 2017. Yeah, that's right, this film review channel just moved over to video games. Deal with it. So my game of the year 2017 is Nier Automata, and I wanted to bring this up because there hasn't been such a fantastic utilization of the medium that something resides in to tell a story that I've experienced in the last decade, as there was with Nier Automata. The way that the user interface and the soundtrack and the characters and the story and everything was sort of melded together to become this giant, elaborate way of telling a story. It was so great. It really struck a chord with me, and I can't sing this game's praises enough. And no film that I watched this year really drew me in and made me as invested in the plot as Nier Automata did. And I'm pretty certain it's pronounced automata, not automata, because I speak English. I love this game so much, and I implore you to go out and play it. It has it says there are 5 endings, but really, until you've watched the 5th ending, you haven't actually finished the game. It's just the way that when your character's hurt, your user interface starts to glitch, or when something happens in the story, you can no longer save your game, and that happens because the reason you could save your game in the context of the game is no longer there. And it's all these little things that just... there's virtual reality sort of making a resurgence at the moment, and I don't think that just because something's like coming out at you, it's as engaging as the way that Nier was told. So I can't wait for the next installment of this. And I don't know if this will make the cut because it is about video games, but I just wanted to give Nier Automata a mention. If you have a PC or a PlayStation, go and pick up a copy, it's well worth it.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Number 10, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was an entertaining movie, but kinda dumb.
I killed him. I killed him, but nothing stopped. You killed the god of war. You stopped the war.
Exactly what we have to do now. We need to stop the gas. Come on.
No. All of this should have stopped.
Diana.
The fighting should have
You don't
stopped.
have time to talk
Why
about
are they
this.
doing
I
this?
don't know. I don't know.
Ares
I
is
know
dead.
that you-
They can stop fighting now. Why are they still
because
fighting?
that's because maybe it's them. Maybe people aren't always good. Ares or no Ares. Maybe it's who they are.
Number 9, Split. It was a wonderful character piece with a standout performance from James McAvoy, who played several personalities within one character. And the film goes in terrifying directions and you won't see it coming. The only downside to the film was basically every other performance in it. Number 8, I know I just sort of complained about it somewhat, but Star Wars The Last Jedi. It's a very fun movie that has its merits, but every frame is so dense. And, milking. You know what I'm talking about. Number 7, Logan. This is a very entertaining action film. It's the final chapter for a beloved on-screen icon for the last decade. And it has great performances, good humour, gritty action. And it really reflects sort of the weight of sadness that it's trying to convey in its plot, I think. Sort of the feelings of old age and so forth. Yeah, the only problem I had with the film was it did lack a bit of nuance. Number 6, Raw.
Look at the gods from my generation. I'll take the come on, let's get it on.
It's a weird movie, and I have to warn you, it does require a strong stomach to enjoy. But it is a very well made film. I was entertained by it, and somewhat confused. But that's okay. I'm always somewhat confused, so I'd check it out. Number 5, Baby Driver.
So you're just starting your day, or did you just get off?
They call, I go, you know.
So what is it you do?
I'm a driver.
Oh, like a chauffeur. Anyone I'd know?
I hope not.
What is your name?
Baby.
Your name's Baby. B-A-B-Y, Baby.
It was stylish, the soundtrack was engaging, the character performances were well done, even the lead, who I believe was just a model until this role. Kevin Spacey was hilarious in his final on-screen appearance. Yeah, Jamie Foxx was a very intimidating villain. I wasn't sure about John Hamm. I mean, he was just being John Hamm, really. What was that, Will? He is really cool. I wish I was John Hamm. I'd get laid so much more if I was John Hamm. Yeah.
There's a moment you catch a bullet.
And your waitress girlfriend, she's cute. Let's keep it that way.
So Baby Driver was an excellent film. And whilst there's nothing specifically innovative about it, nothing groundbreaking about the film, every aspect of it is solid and entertaining and well produced, and I've no doubt that the film will have tons of replayability because it's Edgar Wright. And if you watch any Edgar Wright film, there's so many little treasures to find in his films that will have you discovering something new every time you watch it. So check out Baby Driver.
Doc said Michael Myers.
This is Mike Myers.
It should be the Halloween mask.
This is a Halloween mask.
No, the killer dude from Halloween.
Oh, you mean Jason?
No!
Baby, you tell me who does.
She a good girl? You love her? Yes, I do.
That's too bad.
Number 4. It.
There you go. She's all ready, Captain.
Thanks, Billy.
This was a film that, based on the trailers, looked like your average Halloween time just crap that's put out every year, full of jump scares and not much depth. It wasn't like that at all. This was Stranger Things the movie, and that was thoroughly entertaining to me. It was kids on bikes roaming around. Who doesn't love kids on bikes? And it was well shot. It was visually interesting. Some of the creative decisions they took with the horror elements were very entertaining. They didn't have an underage orgy in there, so that was good. That would have been really awkward, I think, if they had moved that from the book to the film. So, if you haven't read the book, that happens. He took a lot of drugs. Stephen King had a lot of drugs in his system when he wrote that book.
What happened?
Andy Muschietti's It. Check it out if you haven't already. If you enjoy horror films and don't mind your jump scares, but you know it's not all about the jump scares, then it's the film for you.
Bill, if you'll come with me, you'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too.
Number 3 was another surprising film this year. Get Out.
You got your toothbrush?
Check.
Do you have your deodorant?
Check.
Do you have your cozy clothes?
Got that.
What?
Do they know I'm black?
Should they?
You might wanna, you know.
Mom and Dad, my black boyfriend will be coming up this weekend. I just don't want you to be shocked that he's a black man.
I ain't never seen you like this before, bruh. Meeting families, taking road trips. Don't come back all bougie, man. Come back, get your damn pants up to your damn stomach.
Why did I like Get Out? Get Out was... it was funny in a satirical sense. But it had some good humour throughout. But it was also really creepy. There were some really eerie sequences, especially involving the mother of the family that they go to visit and hypnosis.
We hired Georgina and Walter to help care for my parents. When they died, I couldn't bear to let them go.
There's very much a Pod People vibe to the way all the hired help act. It's well acted, there are some twists and turns that you definitely don't see coming, or if you have an inkling of what's coming, you won't quite expect it to go the way it does. And it was such a surprise, and it was really, when there are films like Despicable Me making so much money this year, it really made me feel good that this really small horror film could do so well. It made, I can't remember how many percent over its budget, but it was in like the hundreds of percent like profit. So I was really happy that there was buzz and recognition for this movie. If you haven't seen it, you like your horror social satirical somewhat. I wouldn't say it's not particularly gory. It's not. There's not too many jump scares, so most people could probably handle this film if you've got any interest in horror movies whatsoever. So go and check it out if you haven't already. My number 3, Get Out.
No. No.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
2.
Number 2, Blade Runner 2049.
I thought you might be able to help me with the case. Any idea where I could find him?
You police plan on taking me in.
I would much prefer that to the alternative.
Blade Runner 2049 is an incredibly good-looking movie. Denis Villeneuve is clearly a very talented individual. He's an excellent cinematographer. He's got the brain of one anyway, and it's showing in the films he's made.
I think I found him.
That's not possible. If this gets out, we've bought ourselves a war.
It's really well handled, I think. For such a beloved franchise that definitely would have people absolutely slating it, I think, if it had gone wrong. He handled it very well. I kind of wish the Star Wars films were handled like he handled this. Sort of taking everything that you love about the original but going somewhere different with it, doing something new with it. And yeah, coming up with what I would consider to be one of the better sequels that I've seen for a beloved franchise. So he succeeded in every way. If you like sort of classic noir films, if you like your sci-fi movies, then you need to see Blade Runner 2049. It is slower paced, and there are a few instances of, well, let's say contrivances that I didn't appreciate too much. Characters, like just like in the original, characters survive, probably could have been killed off, and there was a bit of happenstance here and there, but for the most part it was a well-made film, and it's had me listening to Peter and the Wolf far too much since I watched it. So thanks, Blade Runner 2049. My number 2.
One. Thunderbirds are go.
Which brings me to my number 1 movie of 2017. There have been a lot of good films this year, all the ones I mentioned, plus a few others that didn't quite make it onto the list, that were still of merit. But this film really blew me out of the water, and that is my film-related pun of the evening. My number 1 is Dunkirk.
What has happened is a colossal military disaster. We shall go on to the end. We shall never surrender.
Chris Nolan set out to make a historical movie that works as a film. Because I think one of the traps that many historical films fall into is they either go full history first, but they're bland and normally tedious to sit through, or they go full cinematic experience and history be damned, like your sort of Bravehearts. Don't get me started on Braveheart. Dunkirk walks this line tremendously well. It's full of incredible action sequences that are driven by the incredible sound design. I don't notice sound too much when I watch films. I mean, you obviously notice it, but not in a conscious way. And the way that the sound and the score drive this film forwards, along with the way that it's structured, which is a very unusual structure. You have a week within a day, within an hour, and it's all intricately melded together so that they all finish at the same moment, and the score builds to that moment, and it's artistic, but I just love the way it looks so much, because there was plenty of CG in this movie, but there was also a huge amount of practical effects, and all of the vehicles were real vehicles. Some of them weren't the exact vehicle, but they were made to look like it, and they melded it together, and it all looks fantastic, especially the flight sequences. I think those are the most true-to-life aerial combat sequences I've ever seen in a film, and they were so entertaining, and Tom Hardy is fantastic as usual. His mask performances are... well, he's starting to rack up like a mini list of his own, like top 5 Tom Hardy mask performances. This one's near the top. It was very well done, and he gives you that real sense of the cool, collected nature of a World War II pilot, which was that sort of stiff upper lip mentality where even when your fuel's lost and time's running out and things are just falling apart all around you, you still maintain that level of decorum and decency that we're known for. The way I would describe Dunkirk is very much patriotism, but it's British patriotism. And it's very similar to Saving Private Ryan. If that was American patriotism, this is how we perceive that beast in our country, you know? And it's interesting to see it sort of presented in a way that, I don't know, most Brits, I think, when they watch a film about patriotism, especially the sort of really obvious flag-waving stuff, will roll their eyes. Because we have the Dunkirk spirit, and you get to see where that comes from in this film. It's that sort of everyone chipping in together to help each other out attitude. And they really nail that in this movie. They really show you exactly what it means to be proud to be British. And that may not be, well, a popular thing at the moment with Brexit and all that, but if you ever wanted an insight into that sort of post-colonial psyche that the British Empire in its reduced state has, then you can get that from Dunkirk. It's an excellent film. I loved it, and it'll be going in my collection as soon as possible. It's my film of the year. It didn't quite get a 10. I feel like there were a few things about it that could have been sort of added, I think. I feel like they missed, especially like some of the historical points about the sort of French-British defence of the beach of Dunkirk and how they sort of valiantly held the line whilst everyone was able to get away. They didn't really delve into that enough, and they should have, because not only is it exciting, but it's quite important. I do understand why they didn't though, because then your film becomes less coherent and less tight, and this film is very tight and very coherent. So there you go. Dunkirk, my film in 2017.
That's all, folks.